I thought, oh, well, maybe it's something to do with the complaint I've made about the abuse I'm getting online.
Yeah.
Mm-mm-mm-mm-mm. It was about my gender critical tweets,
Wait.
all of which I actually
Oh.
have on my phone. So I was pulled in for
Oh.
questioning under police caution
What?
because
You're
I
giving
don't
me
believe.
chills. You're giving
Yeah,
me
I know, mate.
chills.
Honestly, it's friggin' bananas. It's bananas.
Hey everybody, I caught myself a lesbian. I'm so happy because I love my lesbians. That being said, thanks everybody for watching, subscribing, commenting, helping me bring these amazing guests on who are really giving us a sense of some kind of reality back. And I can't do it without any of you. So you all know that. And it means everything to me that you watch my channel, that you see what we're doing here, and that we're really pushing back on the insanity of LGBTQIAPP poo poo. I can't handle it anymore. So, with that, I have this beautiful human today. Her name is Linzi, and Linzi is from the UK, and we're going to have a conversation right now. And so, hey, Linzi, nice to see you, friend.
Hello. I'm sorry I'm covering my mouth. My
No, it's
girlfriend
okay.
has specific things. She doesn't want people to know who I am, so.
That's fine. No,
And I
there's
understand it, to
crazy.
be fair.
That's right. No, I do too. There's crazy out there, and
It's
people do
crazy.
crazy stuff. So tell me a little bit about why you reached out to me, and let's get into that conversation.
Okay, so basically, I'm not going to be specific about like the football club or anything like that, because I have it with the lawyers at the moment. But long story short, I went viral towards the end of England's last season for football. When we beat Brighton at home, I was singing a song called "Have You Ever Seen a Macam in Milan?" and I went viral. And ever since then, I have been getting loads of hate. I mean, like loads of it, right? I do not care. There is not a single thing on this planet you could say to me. I'm a 34-year-old woman at this point, right? There is nothing you can call me that is going to bother me at this point anymore. Do you know what I mean? You could call me anything you want. I'll just laugh you off. Do not care. But yeah, I did this video and I got a lot of hate from certain individuals back from it, to the point where I had people posting pictures of my face because of the ownership and things. I had people posting a picture of my face attached to a hanging woman's body all over the internet. Yeah, yeah, they attached my face to a woman who was hanging. I can send you it all, but no problem. I've
Please
got it
do.
all in emails at the
Please
moment.
do.
Um, yeah, my face was attached to a woman who was hanging, saying that that's what I deserved. I've had people telling me they wish I was in Gaza. Yeah, I've had people, honestly, it's ridiculous. It is ridiculous.
Wow. So tell
Yeah,
me,
but
tell
anyways,
us, tell us a little more about the actual video. What was the context? What is the context of the video? Why were people
oh my
mad at you
gosh,
about it? Yeah.
it was literally just me and my friend leaving the football stadium singing "Have
Okay.
you ever seen a Macam in Milan?" Like,
And
so
I don't know what
basically,
that means.
you have your
Yeah.
sports rivalries in the general area.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I live in Newcastle,
Okay.
and the people who we rival with are Sunderland. Now
Okay.
Sunderland are called Macams,
Okay.
and we qualified for Champions League. So the song was "Have you ever seen a Macam in Milan?" because they've never qualified for European football ever.
Okay. Okay.
So I ended up going viral for that. And it's kind of escalated from there, really, and this is where it appears to have all stemmed from, to be honest.
But
So,
why are they mad at you? What does that mean? Something bad? I'm still having a hard time understanding why they got mad at
I,
you. Why they're
I,
saying
I,
that.
because that's just how people are. Look, to be honest with you, that's just how people are. Like, you know
They're
what I
so
mean? I
crazy.
think if I tried to sit and understand the mind
Right.
and workings of these people, I'd probably go crazy. You know what I mean?
Oh
And I
my
just laugh it off.
God.
Like, all you can ever do is laugh it off.
Wow. I
I've been
know.
called every name you can think of. You just laugh it off.
I
It is
know.
what it is. But yeah, so basically the generalization of the story is, I was checking to see when, so to attend the games, because I'm a member, I had to apply for ballots to be in with a draw to win. And I was checking to see if when the ballot would open for a certain game. And I saw it open the next day, but then I also saw above it an email from Newcastle United security team, and they turned around and they said that I was under investigation for a hate crime, and because of that, they had to suspend my membership and things like that, you know. And at this point, I'm thinking, no, I'm not. Like, since when do a football club find out? You know, for you guys, soccer, but since when do a football club find out before the individual who's under investigation? You know?
Wow.
So yeah, I spent about a week trying to find out what was happening. I even called the police myself twice. I had 2 phone calls, of which I was confirmed, no issues, you've done nothing wrong, you're not under investigation. And it took about a week for them to arrive. I tell you what, Buck, where's my wallet? Oh, there it is. Okay. Because it took them about a week to even get in contact with me. And I came home after a week, and I came home to something through my door a week later, right? And it said this.
Victim contract. Wait, what?
What does that make you think? That they're contacting me about a crime maybe that's been committed against me? A victim contract.
Wow.
Yeah. This is what they stuck through my door.
Wow.
And do you know what it was about? It said there.
What happened?
Can you contact me, PC Lion? Right. So I phoned him, and because I phoned him because I thought, oh well, maybe it's something to do with the complaint I've made about the abuse I'm getting online.
Yeah.
It was about my gender critical tweets. All of which I actually have on my phone. So I was pulled in for questioning under police caution.
What?
Because I don't believe.
Chills.
Yeah, I know, mate. Honestly, it's friggin' bananas. It's bananas. Bananas.
God.
So I need to give you the full thingy of this. So basically, I came home and I found that. I was friggin' terrified. I called the number thinking, oh, well, maybe it's something to do with me. And it was only after that I found out it was over an allegation that's made against me. So then I'm freaking terrified. You know, they're like, oh, we want to invite you in for an interview. Yep. So I agreed to go in the next day. And honestly, Buck, right, I sat and I held it all in. I was sick to my stomach all day. I didn't tell anyone. And I was terrified. I didn't know where to go, what to do, anything like that. And it was when I was driving home, before I went home, I eventually reached out to a couple of gender critical accounts I have on my Twitter, on my ex. And they put me in contact with the people I needed. And since then, I have had an abundance of support. Honestly, if I hadn't have reached out to the people I reached out to, I don't even want to think about where I'd be now. I really don't. I don't.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry.
It's horrible.
I want to know how you can be reported for tweets. What? You can actually be reported to the police, and the police will show up on your doorstep because you made a hate tweet? What constitutes a hate tweet?
Oh my gosh. So it wasn't, it would be like malicious communications.
What? That's the internet. Yeah. We're allowed to write whatever we want, other than I'm gonna off you, but if you're just saying women are women, trans women are men, trans men are women, like what?
I'll tell you what I said, Buck.
Real. Yeah.
I was questioned over the police because I said trans women are men. I posted a picture of, you know, the trans flag. And inside the trans flag, it said reality is transphobic. And I was replying to someone. I know, it's brilliant, isn't it?
Brilliant.
Right? And someone was calling me something, and I literally posted a picture of that, and above it I put yawn with loads of exclamation marks. And I was questioned over the police over that.
Okay, we're done.
I was questioned.
Everybody out there, we're done.
Yeah. I was questioned over a tweet that said this period in time where we are mutilating children will be looked back on with disgust. And I will be able to say I never agreed with it. I was questioned under police caution over that tweet because they thought it could cause alarm or distress. But
But
I'm going to tell you now, I went into my police interview and I secretly recorded the whole thing.
oh, bam.
So if you want to hear it, Buck, you can have
Oh
it.
my God.
You can hear the whole thing. Yeah, I hid it under my
moly.
hat. I hid my phone under my hat and I recorded the whole thing.
So
So,
tell us a little bit about that recording. What was going on? What kind of questions were they asking you?
I mean, it's not
Do you
like they were
remember?
harsh or anything like that with me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not
Yeah.
like they were harsh or anything. I mean, I kind of got the impression that the officer questioning me thought it was bollocks as well, if I'm honest.
Of course.
But you know, he was, and I'd like to let him off with it, but when I reached out for help, I reached out to an individual who gave me contact information for a man called Harry Miller, and he has a Twitter account called We Are Fair Cop.
Okay.
So I've been in discussion with Harry, and he's been dealing with a lot of things for me. He actually took the chief constable of Humberside Police to the High Court, which is the highest of highest you can get here, and he won over gender critical tweets. So basically, when I reached out to Harry, and I spoke to him, he went through my Twitter feed and he phoned me back and he said, Lindsay, I can't find anything you're posting hateful. I said, well, I know, Harry, because I'm not, I don't target people. I just speak how I feel. Yeah, so he ended up having a look through it all and he was like, well, I genuinely cannot see anything. So he turned around and he said, right, give me the number and I will phone PC Lion and I'll tell him that he is not interviewing you today, right? So I give him PC Lion's number and I waited. I got a phone call about half an hour later and he said, right, Lindsay, he went, have a beer. And I bloody did, Buck. He went, have yourself a beer. You're not going to police interview tonight. Just relax. So I did, right? And I kid you not, Buck. And Harry said these words to them. He said, if you want to interview my client, it will be next week. It will be at her home and I will be present. Within 2 hours of that phone call, Buck, I had the police at my door trying to force an interview. And they even threatened me with arrest.
But wait, is that actually legal after your counsel told them? Yeah, of course not. Your counsel told them no. That's I mean, in the States, police cannot show up once the counsel gets involved. What?
Yeah, well, Harry turned around and said that because I come to my door and I said, Harry said, and they went, well, that's not the law. And they turned around and they said that police caution, you have the right to remain silent. Anything you do and say will be, apparently that's for my protection. That's what they told me.
Right. Well, because they're telling you don't say anything. Because it could be held in court of law. That's right.
It's just, oh, we're going to invite you for an interview and the police caution. The caution's entirely for your protection. We're just looking out for you. And I'm thinking, well, it's not really, though, is it? Because you're going to use everything I say against me. You've told me that.
Right.
So it's not for my protection. They told me that Harry had lied to me. They even threatened me with arrest. They said because he'd enacted the Miller ruling, which is the Miller ruling was brought in when Harry took Humberside Police to High Court because his name's Harry Miller. And they even said to me, because Harry's enacted the Miller ruling, we could come here and arrest you. But we don't want to do that. We just want to get this interview done and get it over and done with and get you away. They even went, Lindsay, we'll tell you now, it's a weak case. It's weak. It's weak.
Wow, they said
and I thought, wait, all I've done is speak my biological reality.
I hope everyone's hearing this. This woman is getting raked over the coals because she is talking about biology. What world do we live in? That the police are now showing up? If people don't start waking up, then we're in deep poo poo because it's
Hmm.
only going to get worse. The fact that we can't talk about reality without being having the police knock on our door is the scariest thing I've ever in my whole lifetime of 60 years. I can't even believe we're
Oh,
in this. But wait, in your legal system, you have the right to remain silent, like here, right? And
hmm,
not say
hmm.
anything, right? Which is the
Yeah.
proper thing to do. So, did you stay silent or did you actually do an interview with the police?
Oh, I no commented throughout it. No comment throughout. Like I wasn't giving. To be
Smart.
fair, if I hadn't had the wherewithal to reach out to people,
Yeah,
I probably would have landed myself into a lot of trouble,
that's
you
right.
know.
That's
But
right.
because
Totally.
because I had the sense in me to reach out and ask for help, I knew what I had to do and what I had to say. It was to the point where I spoke to my solicitor in the police station, and
Yeah.
they turned around, and when I went in, my solicitor said, "This is ridiculous. You shouldn't even be here." But I've asked them if you're going to get charged, and they said, as long as you don't admit to anything, you'll be fine.
What is this? Is a joke.
I know. I know.
This is an actual waste of taxpayers' money. Wait, I mean,
Yep.
you know what I mean? The money of your community, of the police should be out arresting actual criminals who are doing
Hmm.
really bad stuff. Instead, now we're wasting police knocking on some young woman's door because she said biology matters. Like, wow,
Yeah.
man. So
Yeah.
are you now sentenced to a court case or where does it
No, well,
stand?
so as far as it stands at the moment, the football club have banned me for the next 3 years from attending the stadium, which is devastating for me because,
Oh my
as you can
God.
see, they are
I'm
literally my lifeblood.
I am so sorry for
Um,
that makes me sad. That really does. Because I'm a
they've
sports
ruined it
person
for me,
too.
man. They've ruined it.
Ruined it.
They've
They
ruined
ruined it
it.
for
It's the one place I go to forget about all of this bollocks. Do you know what I
that's
mean?
right. No, I know.
Nothing
I hear
else
you.
matters when you're in there. You're in there and you're supporting your team, and you are
I
screaming
know.
and shouting. You're
I
losing
know.
your voice for
I know.
those individuals on that field giving everything for you. And I can't
That's
do
right.
that anymore.
I want to
I can't.
cry. I'm not kidding. I actually do because
I'm
sports
deviled
means a
book.
lot. I know. I hear you. Like when you have that connection to sports or anything that you feel like involved in, and that's a community. That's on some level your community that you really enjoy doing.
Yeah.
And then these weirdos, these total weirdo people who have nothing better to do with their time, they don't. They're so mad
No.
at everybty who doesn't
They
kind of
just
conform.
sit in the frigging bedrooms all day writing emails, don't they?
Just going, I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna dox you. Yeah, totally. They're angry weirdos. They're totally
Yeah.
angry weirdos. How do you think I feel as a transsexual person? I don't even know who
Oh,
these weirdo
look, it
people
frustrates
are.
me with you. It
Oh my
frustrates me. I
god.
mean, I've been called a bigot, I'm a transphobe, I'm this, that, and the other, you know?
Me too.
And well,
Me
this
too.
is the thing, like I know I'm not. Like, and I'm sitting
You're
there,
not.
I'm sitting there thinking, hang on a minute, I'm a transphobe, but I'm about to go speak to Buck Angel, who's a trans man. Oh, does he not meet the criteria?
Yeah, I
Is
don't
he not the
count.
right kind of trans? Buck, you're not the right kind of
I
trans
totally,
for the
totally.
movement.
I
You're the
feel
wrong one.
sick. You see what
It's
they do though?
ridiculous.
They're trying to make it so you and I can't even have a relationship. And so because I connect with,
Yeah.
as I said in the beginning, or one of my other videos, I feel very connected to the lesbian community still. I'm not a
Hmm.
lesbian, but I was in that time. And I still very much value that time that I spent as a lesbian. And I value I have a ton of lesbian friends and I
Hmm.
value them. So I'm not allowed to have a relationship with you because you are a lesbian who doesn't believe trans women. Like, what?
Yeah.
So that makes me a traitor, right? That makes me a bootlicker. That makes me a pick me. Because I'm not siding. This isn't about siding, people. This is about living in our reality. And
To be
I'm not
fair, but
siding. Yeah.
every time they treat you that way, that for me is just gaslighting. They're
Yeah, I know.
gaslighting you
It's
because
true.
they're gaslighting you into believing that you're not allowed a choice. They're
That's right.
gaslighting you into believing that you have to stick to a certain point of view. Right?
That's
Just
right.
because I am a lesbian woman does not mean I am going to go along with all of this.
Oh,
because I
really?
personally, I believe sex is binary. You can't
It
change your
is.
sex. Yeah,
I
you
mean,
can't change it, you know? And
I mean,
do you know what it is, Buck? You could come in the ladies' toilets with me and I'd be fine with it
right
because you're
on.
freaking honest. You're
Totally.
honest. Do you
I'm
know?
gonna sit in the stall and pee like a woman because that's how I pee.
No, that's fine. And I'd go in there with you and I'd tell everyone to fuck off.
Right on, right on. Well, that's
Excuse the language. you
you see
know?
that, people? We actually do get along with each other. We do
We
care about
do.
each other. Those people in this new TQ, what is it, TQIA? They don't.
Oh,
I get along with everybody. So does we care about each other in our community. We're not trying to hurt each other. We're trying to understand. It's this new TQIA insanity where they're lying, they're separating us. No wonder the LGB wants to disconnect from the T. I get it. I want to
I've got,
disconnect from the
honestly,
T.
look, I have been LGB for a while, right? And I was even questioned over the police. Why do you have LGB in your bio? Like, honestly, that was, look, I'll send you the recording. I'll send you everything, darling. You can have it
Wow.
all,
Holy
right?
moly.
Honestly, I'm not
Wow.
even joking. And for me, you want to, and I replied no comment, but if you want to know why I separate from it,
Yeah.
I do not identify with this new side of trans. I don't. I used to. When I was younger, I used to be able to get on board with it. But the way it's all going now, absolutely not. And then when
Absolutely
you
not.
look at the queer theory, oh my God, that is all about ignoring boundaries. Do you know what I mean? Like that is
Straight
not
up.
okay. That is
Nope.
not okay. Queer
Nope.
theory is about pushing boundaries,
That's right.
ignoring other people's boundaries,
That's right.
and I'm not okay with that. I do not
Nope.
identify with that. I don't. I really, really
Neither do
don't.
I.
Yeah, exactly. Which is why I love you, Book. It's why I listen to you every day.
Well, I mean, my reality doesn't, I live in actual reality. I'm a
Yeah,
biological female who transitioned to look like a man. I am not a man. Nobody would ever know. That's the whole
you've
point.
got a better beard than half the men I know, my Book.
You know, I respect where I come from. I'm very much attached to my female space, blah, blah, blah. That being said, I want to detach from the T. I left that community just so everybody knows out there, I'm not part of the trans
hmm
community. It does not represent me. I feel more represented by the LGB. I'll be honest with you. I'm more connected to my sexuality than I am to that nonsensical stuff because I find the LGBT community much more loving and much more
hmm
accepting and much more part of my history. And you don't want to erase me. The LGBT community does not want to erase me. They want to erase insanity. And why would LGBT people like Linzi want to be connected to look what happened to her? Because she said something about a trans space. What you said was actually real. That was
Yeah.
factual information. Trans women are men. That's
hmm
factual. And now you get in trouble for speaking facts.
No,
I mean,
exactly. I was like, Book. Honestly,
what?
right? I have never been in trouble in my entire life. I've
Wow.
never even had handcuffs put around my wrists, right? And I
Wow.
know because you talk a lot about everything you got up to when you were younger,
Yeah.
and I
Yeah.
don't doubt that you probably ended up with handcuffs around your wrists at some point.
Totally. More
But
than
me,
once.
but me personally, it's never happened. Never. Even to this day now, I've never had handcuffs put around my wrists, right?
Right
So
on.
for me to be invited in for questioning under caution was terrifying.
Terrifying.
Terrifying. Like I could actually cry. You
Oh no,
know
I could cry
how
for you. It's
honestly
shocking.
I'm trying not to
No, it's
because it
okay.
was
You can
horrible.
cry.
Like
Yeah.
I try and laugh about it. I will laugh about it because
Yeah. Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
if you don't laugh, you just go crazy. Do you know what I mean?
Totally.
So
Totally.
I find a way to laugh about a lot of things, but honestly, like
But it's not
it is
funny.
quite
It's not
scary.
it's not funny, Linzi. What happened to you is first off so degrading. And so look, I've been in trouble. You just said it. I've
hmm
been actually in jail. I've been a bad person before. It's not fun to be in that space. It's terrifying to be put in jail, to be put in handcuffs, to go. That's why they make it like that. So they want to scare you. But the fact, like I'm going to go back to the fact that they would actually bring you in to talk to you about a tweet is the most
hmm
insane thing. That this is where all like what's happening, world, the fact that they're wasting their time on Linzi, this nice person who's never been in trouble in her life because she wrote something of reality, and that scares me, Linzi. That
hmm
scares me.
Scares me,
that's the
but
beginning
scares me.
of yeah, it's what is happening. That's
I
why I
don't
have
know.
to say what I'm saying here. That's why I have to keep repeating that I'm a biological female. I have to keep repeating that I had a transition to live like a man, to look like a
Mhm.
man. I am not a man. It's why I have to keep saying that, which do you think that makes me feel good? It doesn't because I didn't
No.
transition so I could tell the world I'm a female. I mean, I thought I would never have to say it again.
To be honest, Book, I find it absolutely devastating that you have to sit on camera saying this every day.
Thank you.
I really
Thank you.
genuinely do.
Appreciate that.
Because any genuine transsexual, right? And I'll tell you now, Book, right? I was sexually abused when I was 12 years
Oh,
old.
God, I'm sorry.
Um,
That's horrible.
it is what it is.
Yeah.
I've dealt with it. I've
Yeah.
reported it. I've done my stuff, But for me, I was sexually abused as a kid, and what that does to you
Yeah.
and your impression on yourself and everything. Like, I will get emotional again, but
I
because
know. Me too.
I remember looking myself in the mirror. I remember looking at myself saying, what is wrong with you?
Yeah. I
What
know.
is wrong with you?
I know, friend. I hear you. That's what happens when people get abused, whether sexually or physically or whatever.
Mhm.
You start to internalize, what did I cause
Yeah.
it? What's
What have
wrong
I
with
done?
me?
What is wrong with
That's
me?
right.
Why am I
That's
this
right.
way? Why do I feel this way? Why don't I fit in? And
Yeah.
I remember looking at myself in the mirror. I would stand and look at myself and just wish I was a boy.
Oh,
Wish I didn't have any of this. Wish I didn't have any of that. Like, I even to
yeah.
this day hate my curves. I push them in
Sure.
when I look in the mirror. I'll push my curves in,
Oh, that's horrible.
you know, and
Yeah,
and and to be accused of what I'm being accused of,
I know. It's wrong.
knowing what
It's
I've lived
wrong.
through, it's just
I
hard.
know. That's the part that's upsetting to me is that they're attacking people
Yeah.
who also could be having some, well, you do, some trauma, and they don't even care about you. They don't care about
No.
that. That's what people need to see, the bigger picture. If these people actually really cared about truth and justice and all of that, they would also care about people like Lindsay and me, but they don't care. They only care about winning, or they only care
Yeah.
about forcing us to have this thing. They don't care that, now they're re-traumatizing you on some level, Lindsay.
Yeah.
They're bringing
It
up all
is.
of this stuff for you. Yeah.
I mean,
How come they're not
it was
being
a
held
few.
accountable?
I mean, to be fair, Book, I actually didn't report my abuse until I was
Oh,
30.
well, yeah. That
And it
a
was
lot of
it
people.
was
Yeah.
yeah, it was only after there was a serving police officer that raped and murdered a young woman in this country. Her name was Sarah Everard. Look it up. He
Spell it,
raped and murdered
Everard.
her. Sarah Everard, Everard.
Okay.
His name was
Okay.
Wayne Cousins, and he murdered her. He picked her
Oh.
up during lockdown, pretended like she was being arrested for breaking lockdown rules. He took her away and he raped her and he murdered her.
Oh my God. What? And he was acting
And
like a
and
police officer?
he was a police officer.
He actually was.
He was caught because there was bus CCTV that caught him arresting her. That's why he was caught. you
My
know and
God.
it was when all that kicked off that there was just this feeling inside of me, and I knew I
Yeah.
had to speak up. I had to speak
Yeah.
about what had happened. Before then, I never had. Look, I never had. I told my
Wow.
mum, I told other people, and I called the police, and I reported it. And
Yeah.
I'll be honest, he's
Yeah.
still free at the minute because there's not enough victims, right? Because they class it as historical abuse. So
Oh my
because there's not
God.
enough evidence, he's
Oh
free.
my.
But they made it clear that they believed me. The police force did make it
Okay.
clear they believed me. To be fair
Okay.
to them, right, they actually drove from one end of the country to the other to come and tell me to my face what was
Wow.
going on. They had that much respect for what I was going through. They believed me, that, you know what I mean?
Yep.
So I've got all the respect in the world for the police when it comes to the way they've handled me there.
Yeah.
But the only thing I can hope for out of me going forward with that is that when because there will be more victims to him. If I was the
Sure.
first, I tell you now, I will not be the last.
That's right.
So all I can really hope for, Buck, is that me coming forward when I did is going to make somebody else's journey a hell of a
Oh,
lot easier.
I mean, that in itself says a lot about you, Lindsay. It does. It means you're not selfish. It means you care about other people. It means you don't ever want this to happen to a youngster again. It's not easy to go report these kinds of things. Just so you know, I
No,
want you to know that. A lot of people wait till they're older to finally get the, whatever that needs to push to that space to tell. But don't ever beat yourself up over it because you did it. Even if you never did it, it's still okay because it's not an easy thing to talk about. The fact they're even talking
no.
about it publicly says a lot about you. There's so many young, especially women. I think there's a lot of young men too, but who get molested and then it's traumatized. And then I think they're equating a lot of it today to a lot of young girls who want to transition because they don't want to be with their female bodies.
This is what terrifies me, Buck. It really, really
I
does. Now,
know.
if I was a teenager growing up now, and honestly, I can sit
Yeah.
here now and it feels like yesterday that I was looking myself in the mirror, hating myself. Do you know what I mean? You could
Yeah.
probably empathize with it
I
because
do.
you
I
probably
do.
feel like it was yesterday.
That's right.
And the fact it feels so recent makes it
That's right.
so hard to see it happening and to see so many people willingly going with it, all for the
It's
sake of
weird.
being kind. It just
Is that
blows
why?
blows my oh, that's what it is in this country. Be kind. Be
What? How is
kind.
that being kind to a child when a child is literally going, that's what, transition to me is a cry for help. That's what that
Yep,
is. To me, it's a cry. There's something going on with this kid. It's not trans. There's no such thing as
yep,
trans kids. These kids are dealing with some shit. And then we're just like going, okay, you're trans. Because they latch onto that label because it gives them something like sort of like tangible that they could say, oh, well, it's not trauma because of this. It's that I'm trans. It's
yeah,
you mark my words, we are going to have a shit ton of kids so messed up that who's going to
yeah.
take responsibility for them?
This
And
is the
when you
thing,
said
right?
mutilation, so is that the tweet that you got busted for? Was that you said trans kids are getting mutilated or something like that?
Yeah, so I
Yeah.
was reported, I was questioned over the police. I was questioned over the reality is transphobic tweet. Talking about the mutilation of it is. Do you want me to show you it, book? I'll find my phone.
Yeah, I do.
I'll find
I
my
mean, I'm
phone.
not
I'm gonna
laughing at
find
the
it.
mutilation. Don't get me wrong.
It's
I
the
mean,
image. Let me find it.
it,
I'm gonna
you're mutilation is a hardcore word, but on some level it's pretty direct about what's happening to these young people. And so the problem that I had before with this word, as long as it
do you
stays in
like
that
that one,
space of
book?
my god, I think I saw that. Oh my god. I mean, what are they
I
doing
have
to
been
these
dying
poor
for a little
kids?
while.
I mean,
Honestly,
look,
we're
also,
friggin'
I'm all about laughing and I'm all about sort of, but we can't make fun of kids
you
getting
gotta
hurt.
laugh at
Getting,
yourself, man.
but there is no laughing about these kids.
No.
How dare we even touch a child? How dare we even tell a child they can be a boy or a girl when you know what I mean? You can't change your sex. We're lying to these young kids. And what happens when they turn 20 and they're going, I'm not really a boy. I'm actually really a girl. And then
Yeah, it
who's
it
responsible?
genuinely frightens me, Buck. It
It,
genuinely frightens
it's
me
gonna
because
happen.
if I think about how I felt as a child when I was being bullied because I was fat
That's right.
and this, that, and the other. I was being bullied because I was a tomboy. I wanted to
Oh
play football at
God.
playtime, and none of the boys would pick me to play football,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
all of this stuff.
Yeah.
And then it blows my mind because they also expect these kids to be
That's
able
right.
to make life
That's right.
altering decisions.
That's
And I'm
right.
just
No
thinking,
way. No way.
to be fair, Buck, I think you probably looked at a lot of what's going on in this country now. While a lot of Parliament seems to be caught, and we've got Stonewall that
Oh,
seems dead
bleh,
set on throwing this
bleh.
in everyone's faces.
I know. I
Do
know.
you know my opinion on Stonewall? They did a
Yeah.
phenomenal job getting us equal rights.
That's right. They
Once
did
they
an
got us
excellent.
everything once they got us
That's right.
everything they needed,
That's
they
right.
had nothing more to do. So they clung onto the TQA plus alphabet blue hair brigade, and
Totally.
it's just
Pathetic.
ridiculous. Yeah,
It's
it is.
pathetic.
It's
They're
ridiculous.
lying. They're lying about everything that's coming out of Stonewall is a lie. Okay. And secondly, if
Absolute.
I was not. So there's the other thing I hate, Lindsay. People are like, well, Buck, you were a trans kid. I'm like, don't you ever speak for me and my own journey. I was not a trans kid. Okay. I was a tomboy and I actually
Hmm.
had probably dysphoria, but I had an awesome childhood. I want you to know, I want the world to understand that. I had an
Yeah,
awesome childhood. I did not have a bad, I wasn't suffering. It wasn't until I got into my, my 16, 17, like everyone does. You struggle with your identity. I was struggling with my sexual identity. I wasn't struggling with gender. Anyway,
yeah.
my point being is, it, there is no kid that knows he is trans,
No
first off.
one.
Secondly, if they're not going through puberty, how do they even know what they feel like as a boy or a girl? You don't
Yeah.
know that until you've hit puberty and your boobs start growing, and that's when you kind of start realizing, but at the same time, you have to go through puberty. Every single
You
human in the
do.
world.
You have
Everyone.
to, I mean, to be fair, I was quite a late bloomer, Book.
So was
So
I. Yeah.
I found myself quite relieved by the time I started my period because all of my friends around me had started
Yeah.
theirs. And while I didn't
Yeah.
care, I didn't want
Yeah.
it per se,
Yeah.
but because everybody else around me had started their period,
Yeah.
I thought something was wrong with me, and
Of
that's
course.
why haven't I started my? I think I was about 14 when I actually
Yeah.
started my period, and I remember because I saw it and I was like, yes,
Yeah.
just because, yeah, I was
Totally.
because I thought, yes, I'm like all the other women, and that was honestly my thought process
Totally.
because I've always felt so disconnected from everybody else. To get my period was like confirmation that I am actually a girl and I'm normal. Do you know what I mean? Like, even though I'm not
Totally.
normal, nobody's normal. But to see that I'd gotten my
Agree.
period, I was actually like, yes. And not a lot of women would be. But because I spent so much of my life being different and feeling different and separate to everyone else, that when I actually got my period,
Yeah.
like all the rest of my female friends, I felt
Right.
good about it, to be honest. I'm sick of
So,
them now, mind.
well, of course, it's horrible. But that being said, you just made an excellent point. I want to say here, you made an excellent point that I never thought about. Even though I do believe you have to go through puberty, that the point I'm going to make here is this: how would a little girl know that she's supposed to be a little boy or wants to be a little boy if she's not going through and
Yeah.
getting her menstruation and her period and saying, "Oh wait, this because it literally you literally were like, "Yeah, I got my period," right? And
Hmm.
I think it is a sort of it's an introduction into womanhood. And so
Hmm.
how can a young girl
Definitely.
know that she doesn't want to take that next step into womanhood if they're blocking womanhood? That's why I think there's ulterior motives with the puberty blockers. They don't even want these kids to go to the next level of right of puberty where they can find themselves. They want to block it immediately. And
Yeah,
they're experimenting. They're experimenting on these kids. It's what they're doing.
absolutely. I mean,
It's
I
sick.
was banned. One of the tweets I was actually banned over by the club was me saying that they're trying to trans the gay away.
I think the
That's
same
actually
thing.
one of
I
the
say
tweets. I know. And this was well before I started listening to you, but but I actually
wow.
say it's like they're trying to trans the gay away.
They are.
And that
They
is
are.
genuinely how I feel. Like I sit and I
Totally.
look at some of these kids that are getting caught up in
Yep.
this, and it
I
absolutely
know.
tears me to pieces. But like,
It's horrible.
because
I thought of an
I think it's
idea,
because,
Lindsay.
yeah,
There's an idea I have here. I didn't mean to cut you off, but there's an idea I
no,
have
it's
here.
okay.
Why don't we start an organization of women, gay women, to mentor young girls who are sort of maybe struggling with their identity and
Confused.
maybe sort of saying like we need to mentor young butch girls or you know what I mean,
Yeah.
young girls who maybe are a little bit more masculine, whatever that means, but seeing somebody like you would make a young girl who's maybe
Mhm.
struggling with her identity and thinking she's trans because everyone
Mhm.
says she is, but if a young woman like you who's masculine, I think you're sort of
Oh,
masculine, so
I am absolutely more in touch with my masculine side than I am my
totally.
feminine.
I can even with
But
the mask. I can
I'm
feel it.
still a woman.
No, you're a masculine woman, which is awesome. I
Yeah.
think masculine women rule. They're hot. They're awesome. But that being said, why aren't we not mentoring young girls who are struggling with finding? Instead, we're saying you're trans. So they have all of these trans resources. Think about it. They have all, but do
Hmm.
they have any resources for them as young butch women? I don't think they do.
No,
It's just a
you
thought
don't know.
process. I want to throw that
That's a
out there
really
to the
good thought,
world.
that there book,
And
to be fair.
yeah, I think there's
I mean,
nothing for them.
I'm part of a women's rights network group. So yeah,
Excellent.
that's definitely
Excellent.
something like, yeah,
Let's
to be
talk
honest
about it
with you,
later.
yeah, the amount of support I have gotten since all of this kicked off has been phenomenal. Like, I think when it first
Excellent.
kicked off, I
Excellent.
felt like I'd done something wrong,
Yeah.
but it was only
Yeah.
when everyone, and to be fair, everything
Yeah.
I've posted, everything I've said, I've done is
Yeah.
on the internet. Do you know what I mean? It's not like I'm hiding anything.
Nope.
So everyone's seen everything I've said and done, and they're sitting there and they're like, look, there's not even a cuss word in anything I'm saying. I don't even swear. Do you know what I mean?
Ridiculous, man. It's
I don't
ridiculous.
even swear. And every other word out my mouth is usually a cuss. You know what I mean? And I've made the effort. I have made the effort not to swear in my responses to people, and I'm still interviewed for a friggin' hate crime.
Well, I'm going to tell you something, friend. You were chosen by the universe. I believe all that. And there's a reason why this happened to you because you're telling the world, this cannot happen to us because I said something in reality. The police are showing up on my doorstep. This has got to stop. This has to stop. You're being harassed as a woman. That's misogyny, by the way.
Yeah,
That's
well,
actual
like I say,
misogyny.
I was late getting onto the call with you because my door buzzer was going and my girlfriend shouting up the stairs that it was the police. And I
Oh,
went
no.
downstairs
What?
looking. I couldn't see the police anywhere, but I know that Meg's not lying, and I heard the buzzer going.
And then they
So
left?
police have been trying to get in touch with me again tonight, and I've got no idea
Oh
what
my
for.
God.
No idea what
See,
for, but they're back
I
at my
don't
door
like how
again tonight.
they're just showing up at your doorstep. That's scary.
Yeah,
Even my stomach would drop if the doorbell
no,
rang right now and it was the cops. Even though I know I didn't do anything, my stomach would drop and I would be
yeah.
totally freaked out by that. So
That
they're
was it. I
harassing
think
you.
I was literally just getting ready to log in and come and see
Wow.
you, and the buzzer rang,
Wow.
and Meg shouted, my partner Meg shouted upstairs. She said, "Oh, it's the police." And obviously, if the police are at the door, I know it's for me because I'm the only one in
Totally.
trouble at the minute.
I mean, you're in trouble. Like, what does this even mean? You're in trouble.
I know. How
Wow.
dare I
Wow.
speak my mind?
So there you go. That's what I was going to say.
Yeah,
Lindsay's in
yeah.
trouble for speaking her mind. What world do we live in, people? What world do we live in? This cannot happen. I don't care. I'm a free speech absolutist, by the way. So I believe you should be able to say, even if it's hateful, whatever, because
Hmm.
I can turn around and be the same. But I'm a believer of freedom of speech. And if you can't say what you believe, what's the next step? They're going to tell us what we
What's the
have to
point?
think. What's
Yeah.
the
What's
point?
the point? What are we gonna do? Like, honestly,
What?
if we can't even think for ourselves and speak for ourselves, what's the point? Like,
It's
in anything, really?
insane. But I want to ask you this question here. So, for myself, I believe that this new movement is being run by trans women. And I believe and I call it a movement because I transitioned 31 years ago and never has this been this way. People just accepted me or they didn't. It was fine. You know what I mean? I found my space in the world and I never had the
Hmm.
amount of hate coming at me that I've had from the trans community my whole life. So, that being said, it's mostly trans women who we know are biological males. I hope the police don't show up. But that being said,
I've just texted them where you are, but
so I want to ask you how you've. So if you notice the voices that are doing all this are trans women. They're the ones who are angry. Everything is about trans women or women. Women. Do you feel on some level that this is an attack on women?
personally,
Yeah,
absolutely.
so do I.
My biggest issue with it is whenever I've seen and I used to sit quietly in the beginning and just read and observe, and what gradually started to grind my gears is that it was always trans women arguing with biological women about being allowed into their spaces. I never saw trans men arguing with biological men about getting changed. And it was always about these trans women who wanted to walk around with their wang out and do whatever they wanted to do. And for me personally, right, and I know I'm still dysphoric about certain parts of my body, my curves, I am especially dysphoric about. I hate them, but I'm comfortable with the fact I'm a woman, you know. But for me, it's just all wrong because it's just I can't even begin to
No,
explain
you make
it.
a lot of
But, you know,
sense. I'm actually in alignment with you. I believe the same
yeah,
thing. I believe this is a
it's mental.
movement
Like
against women.
I don't
It,
think I've ever seen a kick-off with trans men trying to get in to
nope,
men's spaces.
nope.
The only argument I ever see anywhere, and that was whether I was involved in it or whether I was just a passerby, for example, you know, just spectating, you know, because I didn't think there was an issue. And every woman at some point has thought that there isn't an issue until we've peaked and realized that there's an issue, you
That's
know.
right. That's right.
But for me, the argument is always centered around trans women. Why is it that trans women is all we hear about? I don't think I'd push back half as much as I do if I heard about trans men, but I don't.
Yeah.
It's
You
all
don't.
women. It's all these men that want to be in our spaces,
That's right. That's right.
gaslighting us and telling us that we must accept them.
Yep.
And I don't know about everybody else, but me as an individual, I don't take kindly when you tell me what to do.
I'm
I
the
really
same way.
don't. Yeah.
Don't tell
I'll
me
do the
what to do.
polar opposite. You tell me what to do. I'm like, oh, really?
That's totally me.
Oh, well, let's see about that.
I'm not calling trans women women. I'm not doing it. They are
No,
trans
me
women.
neither.
I'm a trans person telling you this. Like, go F yourself. They are not
Yeah.
women. They want to be women. I want to be a man. That's different than actually being a man and a woman. And why are we lying to the world? We never lied, Lindsay. We never lied. We were always honest
No,
about
that's
who we
it.
were. We moved over in the world. So for me, it is a misogynistic movement. It's these type of trans women who I don't believe are really trans. I think they're cross-dressers and transvestites who are fetishizing women and coming into my space and acting like they're like me, but they're fetishizing and being dicks to women. So I'm not going to support trans women. Look, I have a lot of trans women friends who are mortified by this. They're like me. They're just, they look like women. You would never know. Blair White, right? Just totally a woman.
Oh, I love Blair.
Nobody would
I
ever
love
know.
Blair.
My trans women friends participate. They would never do what these other ones are doing. They're mortified by these trans women. So they can't speak out because many reasons. But that being
You've
said,
got to be careful. You
you've
do.
got to
I
be
mean,
careful.
me
That's right.
personally, right? And I'm not
Yeah.
even trans, right? I'm not
Yep.
trans. But if
Yep.
I was to, if I'm going to sit here now and be
Yep.
completely open and bold with everybody right now,
Yep.
you know, if I was to have transitioned,
Yep.
the last thing in the world I would want to be doing is showing off my biological body parts that I'm not happy with. Like, I'm sitting here with my titties in my hand. So like that. But honestly, it's that kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, for me, I've been dysphoric about these in the past.
Sure.
And if I was to decide, right, I'm going from female to male, the last thing in the world I'm going to do is expose the very parts of me that define my biology.
That's right.
You know?
You hit it on the head.
That's how I feel.
That's why they're fake trans women, because my trans women
Yeah.
friends would never do that. They don't go to any space showing their penis ever, 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 ever. So that's why I'm telling you, these people are fetishizing, talking about their periods that they don't get, right? Talking about their woman penis, right? And that lesbians have to date them. What? Get out of here, you freak. Like, no,
Do you
they
know
don't.
what?
No, they don't.
Do you know what?
And they don't have
They
to
can
invite
have my period if they want it, you know, because I'm sick of them. I'm sick of them.
I mean, wow. You and I both know if
Take
they
it.
ever got their period, they would freak. They would
Oh
never be
my
able to
God.
handle
They
it
wouldn't know
ever.
what to do with themselves. They would not know what to do with themselves. They actually wouldn't know what to do. They wouldn't even know where to put themselves. You know? Friggin' Nora.
Oh man, you're awesome, Lindsay. I really
It's
like you.
true.
I think if I was in the UK, we'd be friends. I'll tell you that
Oh,
right
but
now.
guaranteed.
I need to come over there anyway. I'm gonna come
You need to
over
come
and
over.
I'm going to. Don't worry, I'm coming soon. And then
Yeah.
when I do, I'll let everybody know and we'll create a big party. I'm not kidding. We're gonna create an event and it's gonna be
We'll have
awesome.
a big trans and lesbian party.
Totally, totally. That would be amazing. And then we can
And we'll have
we
a
can
trans
actually
lesbian. We'll have a trans lesbian get together.
I mean, wow, these people are whacked out, man. So I'm gonna end here. I have to run to another interview, and I mean, I don't mean to be rude and
No, that's
cut you
fine,
off,
but don't worry.
but I really value you a lot, and I really feel like your voice here is going. This is going to be so great. So many people need to hear this and see what's going on,
Thank
and that you're
you.
being
Thank you.
attacked. And you should never be attacked for speaking your mind. You're not saying anything that I wouldn't say. That's what
Yeah,
people need to understand. If you need me to testify for anything, you call me, friend, because I will. I'll
thank
stand
you.
up for you because that is not
Appreciate,
right. I'm a trans person
appreciate.
telling you that what happened to you is not okay at
Thank
all.
you.
That should never happen to you. You're
Thank
entitled to
you.
say what you need to say as a person. If it hurts my feelings, then I just need to block you and walk away. But what? I mean, it's like so stupid. These people are so.
Yeah.
So, do you have something maybe you want to say out there, or anything to anybody?
Do you know what? I think the biggest thing is just be comfortable in who you are. You know, don't let other people pressure you. Don't let other people make you feel like you have to speak a certain way. Don't let people make you feel like you're doing something wrong. Because if you are adult enough in your principles and you know the kind of heart you have and the soul you have and the person that you are, then you know your principles come from a good place. So
Beautiful.
stick by them, stick by it. You might get a load of hate, but you know, I'm a Christian and I say all the time, and it's a true fact, right? When you are walking the path that the Lord intended you to walk,
Yeah.
it doesn't mean you're going to feel happy and comfortable the whole way. It's going to be
Okay,
uncomfortable. It's going to
that's
be
right.
uncomfortable. Jesus Christ wasn't comfortable when he was nailed to
Nope,
that cross. He
that's
questioned
right.
it, you
That's
know.
right.
So if the Lord's working in your life, it doesn't mean you're going to feel good about it, you know. So
Excellent.
just stick to your heart and stick by your
That's right.
guns.
Beautiful. Oh my God, that's so beautiful. And somebody will hear that, and
Good.
we need to start hearing that from people who you even said you could have possibly transitioned, but
I
you
could,
found
yeah.
yourself. Yeah, and it's easy
Hmm.
to pull people into this. Like we're gonna change your sex, but
Hmm.
anyway, Lindsay, I'll be in more contact with you on email, and we'll exchange the information. And I really value
Amazing.
you a lot. I value you a lot, and so thanks everybody for watching. Leave a lot of beautiful comments for her because she stepped up to the plate, and these are the kind of interviews that we're going to be exposing the BS that's happening out there, and women are being attacked for no reason except speaking their own minds. Remember that. See you on Wednesday for the live, and thanks again for watching.